My name is Alfredo Avina, and I am part of the gaming community. This is my controller from the gaming community. It's a console controller, as many would know. It's an Xbox console controller. It's actually the first console that I was able to get my hands on and actually be a part of the community. The gaming community has been around since the 1970s, like early 1970s. And then 1971, they created like the first arcade game. And from there on 1978, they started creating like good arcade games. It wasn't until 1972 where they created like the first console in Xbox, the gaming community. I've actually grown a lot from learning from different developers and like different people who are working together to create these games. And I've learned a lot more from being friends with people and actually having social skills to be a part of that community. It really helped me develop as a person. Um, so hopefully I'll have you guys learn more by introducing this console controller and maybe the history behind it. First off, I'm gonna explain to you about this gaming controller, how it works, and I'm also gonna explain my experiences with it and how I was so accepted in the community that's so acceptable, and how I grew from it and my experiences with it. So the Xbox controller is a gaming controller, and it helps us come together and really brings us together in like digital but also fantasy type world where we could grow and learn together and even work together to progress through our goals and accomplish the game. These controllers really help out in us being a part of that community and a part of that fantasy world where we could all be connected even if it's not physical. So video games will go as far back as the 1950s, when some scientists would create simulations on the computers to pass off the time. It wasn't until the 1960s when a professor and some of his students would come together to create the first 3D world space. But then in 1970, when they tried to create the first console, there was only a couple of games, and they couldn't really reach out to everybody having their own console yet. That's when arcade games came in at like 1972 until the 1978 and 1980s when arcade games started getting like really good games like Pac-Man and Mario and all the games that everybody knows to this day. People have been progressing like artificially through technology of the video games and fabricating these interesting stories to bring across a whole new medium, but also becoming more skillful in themselves and coordination or problem solving. But I think the most important thing that video games have done over the decades is create a bigger community. That a lot of people will come together and work together to work on this video game. And whether it be developing it or beating it or just to pass the time together, I think it's the most beautiful part about video games, that we're just all connected through it. So that's how a measly controller was able to bring a whole culture together and bring a huge community of people. And of course, I myself got sucked into it because the accomplishments that this culture was able to create and how many stories were able to become from this opportunity, I couldn't resist. So when my parents got me this gaming console, I was really excited because I got to play a video game where a lot of people were able to come together that were particularly in my age and had a lot of my interests. So I was able to make one friend in the first couple of games I actually played, and then from there he led me to meet a bunch of other people. And as I played more of the video game, I actually met more of people I liked and more people I could consider as a friend. And the culture of that space really impacted me as a young age. So when I say impact, I really mean impact. Because outside of video games, I met them in real life. And we got to share so many experiences together. We got to learn and laugh and truly grow together and support each other. It's a huge lifelong change to me that I got to meet so many people through this video game. We mostly hang out together in real life, and it's such a huge opportunity. So I hope you learn more about the gaming community and why this controller represents so much for me and for a lot of people. From its technological advances in the past to its huge impact on individuals like me and my friends. It's a huge journey to go through, and the community is so supporting. So, video games have a lot to offer to all types of communities, not just technologically or to even pass the time. I think the most important thing about video games is the fact that it's able to bring people together and really unify us and not leave us alone in this scary world. And hopefully, we can learn more about teamwork as well as working together to get through things like troubles of our real world. Maybe. Thanks for listening.